New Thought Media Network proudly presents It's All Love, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 p.m. Eastern, with Laura Mock, Maria Hartman, Wendy Ann, and Lara Brzezinski. It's All Love, a space where we open into the heart, tap into the soul's deep wisdom, and enter into the energy of love, truth, presence, and joy. It's All Love, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 p.m. Eastern.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to It's All Love, a sacred community where we tap into our hearts, connect with the vibration of love, and just meet heart to heart, soul to soul, and have meaningful conversations. And we invite all of you as our community to join us. Each week, we try to start with a short meditation that will help us and hopefully you drop into your hearts and center and connect at the end of or in the middle of your busy day. Just a little reminder of going back within every chance that we get. So tonight, Lara, who is with me tonight, Lara is going to lead that meditation for us.
And leading us off is Maria from North Carolina. You might have said that. And I'm in Colorado. And I just love to say that because of technology. We get to connect across time and space and wherever you are watching and to be in this now moment. And so to start us off, I'm going to invite us into a little centering to be fully present in this now moment. So if you're comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes. And we're going to start with just a couple of big, full, deep breaths in. And as you breathe in, really feel how that breath moves your body, how it expands your chest. Feel it going all the way down into your belly. And as you release, feel your body relax. And going at your own pace, noticing as your breath goes in through your nostrils, the temperature, the sensations in your nose, and then bringing it all the way down, feeling that breath filling you, supporting you as your chest expands, your shoulders may go back, as your belly expands, and just feeling the pressure of the air in your body before you gently release. Being conscious of the sensations of that airflow moving in and out. And now bringing your attention to where you're sitting, whether you're in a car, you're on a couch, you're in a chair. But bring your attention and your awareness to the connection of your body to the seat, underneath you, behind you. And then traveling down your legs, down your knees, and feeling your feet as they connect on the floor. Noticing all of the contact points. Wiggle your toes. Feel the balls of your feet, your heels. Feel that connection. And as your breath is returned to its gentle, natural rhythm, just feel the presence of your whole body sitting or standing or lying, whatever it is you're doing, noticing the presence of your whole body from your feet all the way up to the top of your head. And then sitting quietly and listen. Listen for the loudest sound that you hear. The sounds past my voice. The sounds underneath my voice. What is that quietest sound that you can hear? Recognizing that you can hear so many different sounds all at the same time. And yet the one that you focus on becomes your primary that you're really noticing. And the last is to take a big swallow in your mouth and just notice the sensation of your mouth watering, of how your throat and your tongue work together. Notice any tastes that you have lingering from the last drink that you had, the last piece of food that you had. What are you tasting in your mouth? And is there any sense in the air, anything that you can smell? Noticing as you breathe in through your nose, what can you smell? And as you sit here fully present in your body, tune into your heart space. As you feel your chest gently rise and expand, put your attention on your heart in the center of your chest and feel into your heart. Feel love, feel compassion, feel expansion. Putting your energy, your attention on your heart space. And then thinking about something specific that brings you joy, that brings you happiness. Bringing that forward into your heart, whether it's a puppy or a kitten, or the sun glistening off the trees as they rustle in the wind. Maybe it's your loved one. Maybe it's a baby. What image are you bringing into your heart that expands your feelings of love and joy and happiness? Now I invite you to take another slow, deep, conscious breath. Feeling your body in the space that you're in, bringing your attention back out to the chair, your feet on the floor, the sounds around you, and bringing your awareness back to this conversation. And when you're comfortable, gently, slowly open your eyes and bring yourself present fully into this conversation. I don't know about you, but I didn't want to open my eyes.
I know.
Ooh.
It's been one of those busy couple of weeks, I guess, really, actually, for me. I know for you too.
Yeah. And I love doing that because it's so simple. And in the process of putting our awareness on our physical senses, my brain stopped its chatter of whatever was going on before, what we're going to talk about, right? And it really does bring you fully present into this now moment. And as we've said before, there is only this moment that we are living. And so to those that just hopped on, thanks for joining us. Welcome to It's All Love. I'm Lara. This is Maria. And we love to bring up a topic that we can pull back to. Underneath it is love, even when the appearance may not be. And what Maria and I were talking about earlier was recognizing that how often We think our happiness depends upon an outside person, their behavior, what they say, or circumstances, when in fact, our happiness, our peace of mind, our everything starts from within.
Yeah.
So, Maria, do you want to dive a little bit deeper into that?
Sure, I can try. No, that I think that is a theme, a common theme when, when I talk to friends or when I see clients, and even in my own life, I've found that, well, not even in my own life, everybody I feel like does this. But it is a common theme where we are like, well, when this happens, when this person behaves in this way, when this week is over, I'll be happy. When I get that new job, I'll be happy. When, we are constantly putting our joy outside of us, when what really, um, the beautiful gift that we're given is that surprise. It's actually in you. And the more you tap into that center of joy, tap into your own personal joy, the more you begin to see the world around you joyfully too. A-
Right.
And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about 2 weeks ago when you and I were on here 2 weeks ago. The more you start, it's like you set that tone. You set the tone, and then you walk out into the world and you share it with others, and then you just see more and more of it. But the same thing is with that happiness and with that joy. You're setting the tone. When you're able to tap into it for yourself, then you start recognizing it all around you, right? And then drawing more of those experiences to you, I think. um, that, and don't let me go on and on, but that's part of one of the beautiful things about a gratitude practice, a practice in daily
Yeah.
gratitude, is that once you start noticing it and being purposeful and mindful of it, then you start accidentally noticing things that you're grateful for and realizing how often you're surprised by that feeling of
Right.
gratitude, which is beautiful. Yeah.
Well, it came into my awareness. I was reminded of, I want to say it's David Hawkins in the book Power versus Force, where he measured the vibration of the different emotions, and that the lower vibration is the things we call below the line, right? Of the fear, the anger, the frustration, the jealousy, that we feel in our bodies how it feels. It's constricting.
Yeah.
And when we're in a place of appreciation, gratitude, love, peace, joy, right? It just keeps elevating. We feel better all
Yeah.
around. We feel better. And the gratitude is right up there with peace and love and joy. I don't remember the exact order, which is at the highest anymore. But just like you said, is when we're appreciating something, like you can feel the fullness. And that's the other thing too about gratitude journals. When I first started, I was all in my head. And I
Hmm.
was, yep, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. And I didn't understand it was bringing it into my heart and feeling the gratitude. And that
Yeah.
shifted was when I didn't look at it as, okay, before I go to bed, I'm supposed to write 3 things down. Great. Did that, check it off. It was
Right.
like, feel gratitude that you have this.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to say. And I can say from personal experience, the more that I felt it, the more, again, I was always looking for that. What was that quote? Um, Look for the good and praise it. That was like a magnet on our fridge for the longest time.
Hmm.
And it's the same thing when you look for the good and you're noticing, you're appreciating, right? It's seeing the gratitude. You're like, oh, so praising it is the feeling it. Like
Yeah.
I'm not just giving lip service, like I'm feeling appreciation. I have this experience, I have this person, I have clothes, I have, a computer that I get to, and feeling, and it just all of a sudden it expands out. And what we also talked about 2 weeks ago is science has proven that there are parts of our brain that when we put attention on something, the expression is what you focus on expands. It's
Yeah.
because our amygdala says, oh, that's something that's important to you. Okay, let's find, and it helps you because our brains are so smart. They are so efficient. Like there's so much going on outside. Oh, you want to focus on that? Okay, let's find more of that. Let's find more of that. So that's what many people have reported when they start doing the gratitude exercise, then there's more to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Wow, what a
Yeah.
concept.
I two things as you're talking, two things for me that stood out is the first one was I love that the chart that shows what the highest
Mhm,
level of vibration, I guess, is
mhm.
that joy, that excitement, that joy, or whatever, enthusiasm, whatever it might be. Um, but I loved that you said something about, that fear and grief and all of that, which we feel, it's natural, but those are very constricted. So I like how you described it as a constricted vibration rather than like lower and higher necessarily. If we look at that, if we almost flatten it out and just see it as constricted feelings and expanded feelings. And then
Yeah,
the expanded ones are the things like gratitude and joy and, just this love for this life that we're living. But it does feel like that in your body too, doesn't it?
right,
It feels like you're expansive, like you spread through the room. Or if you're worried about something, it feels tight, like you feel the muscles in your body tighten and constrict. So, I
right.
mean, there are very physical indicators of vibration, which is such a cool thing. I love science. But it's such a cool thing. That was the
And
one thing. Yeah.
yeah, and so we might have outside experiences that trigger, but
Hmm.
that feeling comes from within.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what I remember. It took a number of years for me to fully grasp that, embrace it, embody what that meant is yes, somebody cuts me off in traffic. I can, for a moment, react, go, oh my goodness, like, ah. But then I get to decide, do I want to spiral down and constrict into that frustration of like, oh, yelling at somebody who can't hear me,
Yeah.
or be in control, take a breath and let it go and say, "Ah, thank goodness we didn't crash."
Yeah.
Right? Again, it comes from within. And so I love positive intelligence talks about how these triggers, things that happen, and so we have this fear, we have this anger, we have frustration, whatever pops up, it's not wrong and it's not bad. It's an alert. It's basically like the
Hmm.
smoke detector going off, say, pay attention. And so
Right.
once you notice, like, oh, I reacted because that car,
Right.
from there, it's like, oh, great. We didn't crash. Then we get to choose and we get to let it go, keep moving,
Yeah.
or allow that outside trigger to continue to affect our inside.
Right.
And as you were sharing earlier about relationships, and if somebody does something, oh, they did it to me, they did it. They did what
Yeah.
they did.
Right.
How
Not
we,
necessarily to me. Yeah.
right, even if it
Yeah.
felt like it's
Sure.
okay, I'm in control. I get to choose how to respond. I get to choose how I don't respond. I choose
Yeah.
to stay. I choose to walk away. And I feel like it's all of our life lesson is to recognize the triggers and have the awareness of, we've talked about this so many times, the power of the pause. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to take a breath, pause before I go into reaction, before my subconscious automatic, system takes over. But that's part of this whole recognizing as we started with, that we are in control and everything starts within. It
Yeah.
really does. And we're the only ones that are really that are in here.
Yeah. And I love that you brought it back to we get to choose, because a lot of times when we're triggered, we feel like that has been taken away from us. We feel like something has been taken away, right? Um, but the truth is, when you really step back and step into yourself, I do get to choose. I get to choose how I respond. I get to choose what I allow to happen in my life. I get to choose how I allow people to treat me. I get to choose whether I'm okay to feel that constriction, or do I feel better when I'm choosing to be more expanded and feel and doing things to feel joy. Follow your bliss. There's obviously we would rather. I think everybody I know would actually rather feel better. So
Right.
why continue to stay stuck in those constricted states when it doesn't feel good? It doesn't feel good. Why do you continue to choose it? And I think that's the power of that gratitude practice, because maybe you do need to start out where it's very literal, pen to paper, three things, I got to think of something. Maybe it starts out like that. But the more you do that, and maybe it's the same three things every day for a little while, but the more you do that, the more in the habit you are of, like, at some point it's going to click and you're going to think of one of the things, you're going to be like, yeah, actually that feels really good. I am really grateful for that. I You mentioned in the meditation to start, the part, I think it was the part where you were talking about what brings you joy, what fills your heart, and you talked about the sunlight like glittering off the leaves, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh gosh, yes, that is one of those moments when I'm sitting in the hammock outside and the sun is coming just right, and like coming through the leaves, and it's such a simple thing, but I love that moment, that so
Mhm.
much. And it is something that I am just completely grateful for when I see it. And I don't pause often enough to say, oh, I love that. I love that. I'm so grateful for that. I don't pause often enough. But isn't that what doing those meditations in the beginning of these are, to help us be able to recognize the importance of the pause and the importance of the finding moments to be present, giving yourself permission to sometimes schedule in those moments. Like, I found I start my day and I play games with my college roommates and stuff online, right? Or we share them. But I always stop now at a certain time, because I also find that for me, it sets the tone. We were talking about, there's a book that I read from every morning. It's one passage per day or one page per day. Um, but for me, I've started having to set aside that time, that block of time before I go to work, to be present, to read something that inspires me, to center myself, to maybe journal if I have enough time, or, whatever it might be that brings me joy internally. The other things do too, but this fills me in a way that is, I've found necessary to begin
Yes.
my day in that way. Yeah.
One of my clients brought to me a poem called The Sacred Art of Tasks.
Mm,
And it basically explains mindfulness, that
yeah.
it's recognizing that, and it's pulling in gratitude, because when we're sweeping or vacuuming, I have a house to clean, right? And I have a vacuum cleaner. It's being grateful in the moment that, oh, and as I'm cleaning, I'm making my home and my environment feel good. When I'm doing the dishes, right? Oh, I have warm water coming out of the faucet. We have soap and it smells so good. I'm so grateful I have dishes to clean because we just ate a meal, right? And it's so beautiful because this whole poem, it talks about all of the things that we do and how you can recognize the sacred is there,
Mhm.
because it, like, everything is amazing, right? Life is all creation.
Yeah.
And because I get to do this and I get to do this, it's like, wow, I'm so blessed. And when we take the time to be fully present in whatever the task is, that's when we're feeling that fullness of peace and calm and love and joy. We're open because we're fully present to whatever it is without judgment.
Mm.
And so, like, I just love how it all ties together, the presence and gratitude and, the feeling, because I feel full and expanded, as opposed to, as we're talking, the other emotions where I feel tight and constricted and small, and quite often I don't feel like I have options. I don't feel like I can move forward. Versus when you're in the place of, and I love that expression of just being with what is.
Mm.
Shakespeare said it best: nothing's either good nor bad, but thinking makes it so.
Yeah.
When we just meet whatever shows up with, okay, it just is. It just is. It just is. I'm bringing me, the essence of me, the essence of calm and peace and joy and love, to whatever is before me. And and then all of a sudden, whatever's before me isn't so big and ugly and challenging, because of who I'm being first as I meet whatever that is that shows up.
Yeah. Yeah. I I don't know if it's time to take a pause, but maybe
Oh,
I can say this beforehand.
yes, thank
Um,
you. I'm not watching the time. I'm having too
I
much
know, I just noticed it because I was like, well, you know, I can sit here and talk about that all day, but then, somebody else will be like, "Oh, but I saw you when you were frustrated." Heck yeah, I get frustrated. I get angry, I
fun.
get tired. All these things happen to me too. I'm not just this zen being all the time. Like I'm real. I'm real. I've made
Yeah,
mistakes. I've been stressed. I've snapped at people. You know, that happens. But I also, or I should say, and that happens, and I do know how to come back to center. I do know the things that bring me back to my heart. I discovered those. I've learned those through practice, through years and years of practice. I've learned the things that will, even when I'm feeling like that will eventually bring me back to my heart and bring me back to a place of peace and joy. Peace is my big thing. Like I crave I crave peace. I crave it. And so I found the things that I can do for myself that bring that to me, even in those moments when I'm feeling not peaceful. At least I know now what I can do to get there. So maybe that's what we start with after the
yeah,
break,
that
because
sounds
I think that's a very real part. Not everybody feels good all the time. In fact, nobody feels good all the time. I don't know anybody
right.
who does. Um, and so maybe that's something we discuss, like little ways to get you out of that hole, to give you something to grab onto, to be able to pull yourself out of that pit when you're in the pit.
Yes, and that reminds me of something I wanted to bring up sooner, but we went a different direction. So we're
Yeah.
going to talk about, when we come back from a quick commercial, we're going to talk about ways to, when you're recognizing you're in it, pull yourself out, but also why giving yourself permission to feel it, is important, and what that can look like. So you're watching It's All Love on New Thought Media Network, and we are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, entertainment, and so much more. And so I'm going to show a quick video that is a thank you to all of the different organizations that show up here on the network. And then when we come back, we'll dive into, how to pull yourself out when you're in the muck. Be right back.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
And we are back to welcome to we're back. It's all love. I'm Lara. This is Maria. Thanks so much for joining us. And we are going to pick up where we left off about when you're in the muck, when you're having those emotions that are feeling tight, constricted, the fear, the judgment, the frustration. How do you pull yourself out? And how is it, or why is it okay to give yourself permission to have those feelings? So, Maria, you had something on the tip of your tongue. So why don't you get started with what
let me think for a moment. I do believe we were talking a little bit about just giving yourself permission to feel those things, because we are human and we all do feel them. To pretend like we don't have those emotions would be a lie. Everybody feels them. I think some of us are able to, with practice and routine and self-discovery, I think we have been able to find ways to come out of it more quickly. And so I think that is the big thing for me when I talk to people, when I have clients, is saying, okay, we feel like this, that's okay. But what can you do to nurture yourself? We give ourselves permission to have those feelings, and then we give ourselves permission to set up boundaries and create habits that nurture ourselves and not always everybody around us. Making yourself a priority. I give myself permission to make myself a priority many times a day now, and I haven't always.
Yeah. Before we dive into some ways to, I want to dive a little bit deeper into giving yourself permission to feel your feelings, because what I've discovered is that underneath that immediate feeling, that reaction is something else, right? It's so when you give yourself permission not to like throw this massive temper tantrum but to be like, why am I feeling this way? Like, and do I want to stay here? Does this feel good? Like, instead of just like, oh, I will be vulnerable here and say that there have been times in my life where I was pouty and I wanted to stay in that pouty feeling. And I was like, nope, I don't want to hug. I don't want help out of this. I just want to feel this way. And it wasn't until like years later where I had the tools of like, oh, there was something inside of me that was not feeling nurtured, that wanted to, come forward and say, this is what's really going on. Not just, that happened, but what's underneath the feeling of pouty. And what I learned by giving myself permission to feel the feeling, and then the next step is to be inquisitive and say, what's underneath this? What's really going on? That's what allowed me to have that feeling then dissipate, because I gave it space instead of like, no, and pretend like, it was, no, I'm going to give myself permission to feel this way, to like, what's going on? What is this feeling really that is? And, underneath it was hurt. Like
Yeah.
I was putting up this pouty and silent treatment because I was feeling hurt about something. And so by saying, okay, giving myself permission, space, but then also going underneath it. So it wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to, give everyone the silent treatment and that's okay.
Yeah.
It was a different level of permission, and it was an invitation
Yeah.
to ask, what's underneath? Why did I just get triggered? And what is feeling? So as you talked about boundaries, where have my boundaries just been crossed or violated or come up against? Or what is it inside of me that took that action personally, where I'm feeling not heard, not respected, not appreciated, not validated, whatever it is. So
Mhm.
I think that's where the giving yourself permission to feel and to be human. And even when we go down the path of a temper tantrum, be like, okay, well, that didn't do a whole lot of good. And I'm human and I'm going to take a breath and, and now what?
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's interesting that you mentioned being pouty, and I think of moments where I've been angry or whatever it might be, and those are very constricted feelings. Um, but you did also mention curiosity, and curiosity is a very expanded emotion, a very expanded feeling. And so I think that offering yourself that gift of having, when that emotion dissipates, because it will, it does. But giving yourself the gift of curiosity so that you don't get stuck in that loop. You can
Right.
actually step out of the loop and say, what is it really? What was it really that made me so upset? What was it really that made me so angry about this situation? Um, yeah, I think curiosity is one of the most amazing tools, and we don't talk about it enough when it comes to our feelings. We just say, I felt this way, I'm feeling this way. And because that person did this to
Right.
me and made me angry, um, instead of taking a moment, taking that breath when we do calm down to say, yeah, what was that really? What was that? Without judgment of ourselves.
Right.
That's the part that you were just talking about, is you give yourself permission to feel that way, but then also have the tools to step back when you're done feeling that way, or when you're done feeling in the pit of it, you know, give yourself permission to ask, what was it really? Well, what was it really? And what do I choose next? Do I just put up a boundary? Is it something that simple where I have to say I'm worth more than that? I know my worth, and there was a boundary that was crossed, and maybe I wasn't clear about my boundaries, you know. Um, but then I get to decide, is this boundary what I need to bring more joy into my life, to strengthen my relationships, to um, expand, expand my own consciousness, expand my own experience on this earth. So, or it could have been something totally different. It could be something different. It may not be a boundary. Boundaries are pretty common triggers,
Right.
but maybe something happened that just made you sad and you needed to feel sad in that moment. Maybe
Mhm.
there isn't anything deeper than that. And that's okay too.
Mhm.
It's just such a giving yourself permission to feel all the feelings of being human, and then asking a little bit, having that curiosity to ask just a couple of deeper questions to find out, is this something that's going to keep happening to me or can I change it
Mhm.
by making one small change? Oh,
And what I love is, like, every situation is going to be different, because sometimes something triggers us and we can in that moment go, wait a second, I don't want to go down that path. And so we don't have to go down the path of feeling the feelings and getting all angry, right? If we
mhm,
are in a space of like, okay, I recognize this, there's something going on. I'm going to pause. And I always put my hand on my chest because it's a grounding technique. It's a tool. There's other things called havening, where you're connecting with your body, right? Like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of soothe myself and figure out, why did I just get so upset? What's going on? I really don't want to go down the path of angry because it, feels horrible. But it starts with awareness. Like, oh my God, I just got whatever. And then when you can, take a breath and be curious. And it's breathing, it's going within, it's connecting with your body. Positive intelligence teaches connecting with one or more of your physical senses, like we did in the beginning, because then your focus and your attention goes to the body, which naturally calms that brain, the left side of our brain, that's the fight, flight, survival. And then we can take a step back and go, okay. Then we can invite the curiosity or empathy. If somebody just did something, then we can have empathy towards, like, I wonder why they just said that to me. I didn't do anything, right? Or there's empathy, there's curiosity, there's like, what actions can I take? What's possible? It's just being in that space of openness and not continuing to spiral. And again, it all depends on the situation. And obviously, if it is a life or death situation, then you do want to respond and get the heck out. Not sit there and be like, I'm really curious about why this is going on. But,
yes, true.
There's so many tools to use, and especially when you can step aside and look from a different perspective. And be like, well, that was an interesting reaction on my part, or that was an interesting statement that they just made. That was really interesting that they just behaved that way, and just open up. And it comes from, like, the non-judgment place, like you were talking about. And like, okay, there's more here. And what's funny is I heard, as you were speaking, I use the word pouty, and what we think about pouty and temper tantrums is it's as associated with kids do that.
Yeah.
And so in truth, it was something, the little kid in me that had my feelings hurt.
Yeah.
So my adult response was pouty. It's like silent treatment.
Right.
And so, but being curious, later, I was able to identify what was going on, and then communicate from a calm adult perspective. Hey, when you said that or did that, this is how I felt. It came across like, and I don't know if that's what you meant or not, but this is how it felt to me. And then we could have this fabulous conversation, because I didn't react, right away from that whatever, and like, me.
Right. Yeah. I think the other piece to all of this is having it doesn't have to be a ton of friends, but having a friend, having a community, whatever it might be, that can offer you perspective about something, without jumping into the hole with you. You're like, you're right, we hate that person, without doing that, but can lovingly offer perspective and help you to see a bigger picture. Sometimes we don't want that, so we don't call that friend right away. But eventually it's good to have that person. And the thing that I hear over and over again is, I don't have those people in my life. I have, like, my work friends, or my family, or whatever, but I don't have those connections. And I think that was part of why we wanted to start to do this podcast, was to offer that. You can anonymously, put in a comment, put in an email or whatever to the podcast, and ask those questions. So, get a different perspective, because it's hard to say, okay, I'm going to be curious and just start doing it without any guidance or it takes, sometimes it takes somebody else outside of just you to help you create that practice for yourself, to create that curiosity, or to teach you how to do that. And that's okay too. Like find those people that can offer that to you. Yeah.
Growing up in my household, any kind of counseling or therapy, my parents at the time had the judgment that there was something wrong with that person. And I'm so grateful that now in this day and age, it's no, that person just allows us to get stuff out and examine it and then ask questions to be like, oh, so whether it's a counselor, a therapist, psychologist, coach, or, a good friend that helps you, like you said, say, I don't understand why I'm so frustrated. I don't understand why this keeps happening. And that person, because they're not attached to it,
Yeah.
can look from a different perspective and offer you questions to help you go within, because we have our own answers. Someone outside can offer tools and suggestions. We have to take that in and say, is that true for me? Would that work? And like so many times, I was like, oh, I found because I've worked with a lot of people and I've got great friends that I can just say, hey, I need a sounding board, that in the sharing, I hear myself and I go, oh, like I get my own answers sometimes by talking it out. And it's fabulous. So I let go of any judgment or care about anybody else's judgment. If you do say, you know what, I wish I had a counselor, an outside counsel that I could talk to once a month, once a week, whatever it is, to help me shift my perspective. I love that in the book, A Course in Miracles, it says a miracle is a shift in perspective.
Yeah.
It's not big. It's just Wayne Dyer, when you change the way you look at something, what you look at changes. And sometimes, as we talked about 2 weeks ago, you can't read the label from inside the jar of what's going on. And so having someone to bounce ideas off of, and yes, here we do have, where is it? You are welcome to email and connect with us and just say, hey, I don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of and share. We had somebody connect with us about a month ago, and I just listened and asked her questions, and she was able to, it was almost like, I have nothing, this wasn't what she did, but I have nothing to be grateful for. But as I started asking questions, she realized, I have this, I have this, I have this. I helped her recognize the resources that she had in her life that she could tap into. And I helped her give herself permission to ask for help.
Yeah.
That was a big one, because that's the other thing, is that we're supposed to be strong. We're supposed to keep our emotions to ourselves, our stories to ourselves. And it's no, give yourself permission to be vulnerable, to ask for help, to ask for support. And then when you do that, then you also give your friend, someone else, permission to, hey, you can be vulnerable with me. You can ask me for help. It's that being the model for someone else by saying, you know what, sometimes I need help. And then I'm there for you if you need it.
Yeah. I think that's actually more common than we realize, where people feel like what you just said about the person that you connected with, but where they feel like they don't have anything to be grateful for. And that is a huge example of, sometimes you need that outside perspective, because you get so stuck in that story of, this is my life, this is my awful, terrible life. You know what I mean? Like, you get stuck there. It's easy to get stuck there. But sometimes all it takes is that one person that's outside of that life to say, but what about this? And give yourself credit. Even like person that I was speaking to over the weekend, you're you actually are taking steps. You reached out to me. Give yourself credit for taking those steps and putting yourself and your happiness um, first for once. Give yourself credit for that. Good for you. Good for you for taking that step and doing something that brought you joy. Good for you for going to that yoga class, signing up for that yoga class and stepping out of the situation that you are currently in and giving yourself something to look forward to, something that is going to bring you peace and give you an hour of calm, you know. But recognize when you do those things for yourself that do bring you joy and that do take you a step in the right direction. You
Mhm.
never don't have anything. You never are completely stuck. You know, it's just giving yourself permission to do those things, to take those steps, and then recognizing the value in that. Um, because I think that is one of the big things is that we don't recognize the value in doing those things for ourselves either.
Mhm.
Asking for help, stepping out, talking to a therapist, talking to a friend, going to a class, gardening. We don't
Right.
see the value in those things, but there is great value in doing the things that bring you joy
Mhm.
and perspective.
Because, yeah, when we start with ourselves, when we nurture ourselves, when we forgive ourselves, when we give ourselves permission, and we feel confident, we feel filled up, then when we step out into the world, right,
Hmm.
we are better able to handle what comes at us and not react, right, but to calmly respond. And the more that we love ourselves, the more that we can love others. And
Yeah.
it does come back to love, and putting ourselves first is so important, because I love that expression, you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
fill yourself up with love and peace and gratitude and joy, and then you're giving from your overflow, and you're not being drained, and you're not feeling resentful.
Hmm. Yeah, that is so true. I think part of that issue with that is that a lot of people were taught that it's selfish
Mhm.
to do those things for yourself, which, I mean, okay, yeah, you're doing the things for yourself to make you happier, but a happier person makes other people happy.
Right.
Right? Right? So, oh, my earpod just came out. But I mean, there's so much value to that, to being able to do those things for yourself so that you can be present for others, so that you can give love to others, so that you can, like you just said, you're not pouring from an empty cup. You're actually drawing from the overflow. And that, yeah, so important. But we've been taught that to put ourselves second so often, and we were taught wrong.
Yes, we were taught
Like
wrong.
we didn't know what we didn't know. That phrase, there's that phrase again. You don't know what you don't know, but now that you know better, you know how to do better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Awesome. Well, yep, looking at the time.
wow. Wow.
So, if you wanted to close with one sentence that you want someone to carry forward from our conversation today, what would that be?
Hmm. Make yourself and your peace and your joy a priority. Give yourself permission to make yourself a priority.
Yeah. And I shared this a couple of weeks ago, and it just keeps coming up. I love this expression that your peace, your love, your joy, whatever energy that you are radiating out is contagious.
Hmm.
So, what is the contagion that you want to be spreading?
Yeah. Yes.
So
Yeah.
I know that I have the intention, and like we said, we get knocked off, but my intention is I want to be peaceful. I want to be this space of openness and compassion, and I want to be radiating joy, because I see what happens when I go out with a smile and someone smiles back, right? So, but it comes back to prioritizing myself and doing what I can to create that peace within, to create that joy within, and then giving myself permission to, okay, be human. Okay, I'm going to forgive myself for that outburst, whatever. Give myself permission to take breaks, give myself permission to go sit out on the porch and just be fully present in the beautiful fall day and the sun, and, give myself permission to whatever. And again, never at the expense of anyone else. It's by me taking care of me, I'm better able to take care of you and ripple that goodness out. So awesome. So I'm going to let you talk about this, but Maria and I, not just on different parts of the United States, but we have different gifts that we bring to the world. And Maria, why don't you share what you do and then share about the Vistara School as well?
Yeah, I do. I have an office, and I also do intuitive energy sessions and sound baths, sound journeys. Just expanding consciousness, expanding love, and offering ways to heal, I guess, is the multiple ways to heal. Just gifts, my gifts to others. I'm also part of the Vistara School of Inner Wisdom, which is a community. There are several practitioners that offer all different types of services. We do a lot of free events in person here in North Carolina, and we do a lot of free events online, like through Zoom, like we're doing here. All of it comes back to actually exactly what our podcast is about, is that you hold all that wisdom within you. And there are all these different avenues and ways to tap into that. So that's what we're all about. And it's a wonderful community. Yeah. So if you have any questions, reach out to us, info@vistaraschool.com.
Yeah. And you can visit the website, see what they're about, email. If you want to reach out to Maria directly, you can email at vistaraschool.com. And I don't have a website yet. It's under construction. But you can reach me at info@radiantjoycoaching.com. I love helping women thrive, especially moms. Right now, I'm really focused on helping mompreneurs thrive as moms and really thrive in their businesses. And it is about focusing on what does it mean to put yourself first, to give yourself permission and fill yourself up, because it's so powerful. Just the simple things, we've talked about this in the past about self-care. When I get enough rest, then I have more energy to handle all the things in life. So if you're curious at all, info@radiantjoycoaching.com. If you're curious about what we're doing here, or you want to be connected because you don't have community, then our email is connect@itsallove.com. And the last thing I want to point out is that we are on New Thought Media Network, is a network where, as Maria said, so many people that have the wisdom that they want to share, they come here and share with different podcasts, and they're on love and relationships and health and grief and being yourself. We also have people who share about the science of mind teachings, about divine science. Our newest one that is doing so well is What Would Louise Say? Teachings, messages from Louise Hay. And so you can find out about us on ntmedia.org. What are the upcoming shows? You can find us on YouTube, New Thought Media Network. And we always say, if any of our programs are serving and supporting you and you want to participate in the law of giving and receiving, we do have a donate button, and we say thank you so much for supporting us and continuing to share out and support other people. So with that, thank you so much for joining, and we will be here again next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Eastern, with me and another co-host.
I know. Who knows?
Next week. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining, Maria. Thanks for joining whoever's watching, whenever you're watching, and we'll see you next time. It's all love.
Good night.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.